Last video got cut because I kept getting phone calls. So this is the last part, only about 10 minutes. Like, share, subscribe. This man breaks down everything, and it's so important. I think it's just another 10 minutes of the senator. Oh my God, you can't make this up. I swear to God. Okay, here we go.
That's 23 minutes remaining.
All right. And for those who are trying to take down my words, I'm sorry for talking so fast. Tax revenues projected billions of dollars. I'm just, once again, want to make the point. Individual income taxes projected to be up dramatically. Payroll taxes up fairly substantially. Corporate income taxes fairly healthy, just that they're staying within. Other types of receipts are also up. But where I really want to get back to is trying to make this point, and then we're going to do some actual tax history. This is from CBO, Congressional Budget Office. This is not Republican or Democrat, it's math. 100% of the next 30 years of debt, healthcare and interest, and then in 10 years if we backfill Social Security. The rest of the budget is calculated to have almost $9 trillion positive balance.
That's the good thing.
So when was the last time this place actually was willing to have one of the most difficult discussions? About a month and a half ago, the joint economic economists on the Republican side took the leap and told the truth. We wrote a detailed report about demographics, tax policy, maximizing economic growth, and then we talked about health. And this is where I get the crap kicked out of me, telling the truth. Obesity in the detailed line item, and we spent months and months and months and months working on these numbers and vetting them, could be as high as $9.1 trillion of additional healthcare costs over the 10 years. Having a society where we're about to have the 5th year in a row where prime-age males are dying younger, is that moral? Having a society where we calculate in 3 to 4 years, 50% of America will be obese. Is that moral? What we do in the Farm Bill, what we do in nutrition support, and what we do in trying to have a healthier society, is that Republican or Democrat? I often accuse my Democrats of wanting to engage in policy to maintain people's misery, where those who, at least myself, I want to cure the misery. I want to end the misery, cure diseases, move the types of investment, but also the policies so the FDA can use technology to bring cures to market faster. We have a whole portfolio of these ideas. Not one of those was a tax, not one of those was a major cut. We calculate that 16% of all U.S. healthcare, $600 billion, is people not staying on their statin or taking their insulin properly, or their calcium inhibitors, so they're having a stroke. So 99-cent pill bottle cap that beeps at you. And I can't get a damn hearing on that for years. Simple ideas that could crash the price of healthcare. Our society is dying. In 15 years, we calculate we have more deaths than births. Oh, but that doesn't work in the next election. That's not what I'm going to use in my propaganda. The attack ads that are going to come at you, Schweikert, well, we're going to say you mentioned the word Social Security and Medicare, but we're going to lie that you're one of the few idiots here trying to find a mathematical way to save it.
That part.
This place is absolutely immoral. Oh, and I've done this before. I've tried to walk through the actual cost to the poor on what we're doing at our border. I'll do this quickly. You're the individual. You're the couple. You didn't finish high school. What you sell is your talent. You're willing to go out and hang drywall. You work yourself off as hard as you can. And then you get a White House that engages in border policy where millions of people with the same skill set as you have come in, and they consume the housing stock So you want to know why the lowest tiers, the least expensive housing is at some of the highest inflation, why they can't find a place to live, and now their wages are going down because you're competing against millions of people with the same skill set.
Come on.
The cruelty of the current border policy crushes the working poor. Can we have a discussion like economists instead of, well, you're immoral, you want to, no. And on the flip side, we have entire charts that talk about a talent-based immigrations, and talent could be a skilled carpenter or a synthetic biologist, grows the economy. And I will argue a number of the economic policies I propose, I cannot make work math-wise unless we actually, because in the 70s, 80s, the world fought for hydrocarbons. Last decade, we fought for rare earths. I can build you the math model that says this decade and the next 3 decades, we're going to fight for smart people. The entire world. We educate people here and then we send them away. Are we out of our minds?
Exactly.
Madam Speaker Pro Tem, I'm going to skip a bunch of the boards and just try to close this out with just a couple more. This is 2023.
Hi, Anna. How are
Total
you, sweetie?
outlays. Total spending, 6.1 trillion. Total receipts, 4.4 trillion. So what is that? 1.7 trillion borrow. This year, borrowing is going to be about 2.25. And this is a time where the economy is doing remarkably well.
And we borrowing money.
So it's basically a sugar high, but it's still doing well. And now our problem is, in 2023, gross interest was about 700 billion. This year we're heading towards
I'm good.
1 trillion, 140, 160 billion dollars. But this differential here, almost every dime of that 1.7 trillion borrowing,
1.7 trillion in borrowing. How America is broke.
on it. Now, much of it is Inflation Reduction Act, the shortfall from tax reform, but we've never been given the run to show how it's growing tax receipts, and I'm showing you even corporate tax receipts with the different rates are up. Turns out it's healthcare and interest now. And now as we're moving back to more normalized interest, how many of you live in a fantasy world where you think interest rates are going back to zero?
Never.
You realize the current interest
Hey,
on
Jack.
10-year notes still aren't at historic norms when you take away the years of suppression on the rate. And for my brothers and sisters on the left who like to say, well, it was you gave away to rich people. Today, the rich, as defined by you, pay a higher percentage of federal income taxes than they did before. The Republican tax reform was more progressive than the previous tax code. And when we get to some of the other charts, here's my chart showing that President Biden in the debate said something insane about covering Social Security. Let's see if I can find 10 years gross debt will be 56.8 trillion.
So, what he's saying, in the next 10 years, our debt is going to be 56 trillion. Now, you tell me, do we have any money? But we sending all this money to Ukraine, to Israel, to anybody, just printing money out of thin air. BRICS is killing us. After Saudi Arabia went to BRICS, dumped the petrodollar. Like I said before, Japan just dumped 22 trillion in U.S. treasuries. They don't want this dollar. This is serious. And everybody going about their lives like ain't nothing going on. America's in real trouble.
Here's one of the points I desperately want to make. Historically, when we've had very high marginal rates, we get 17.6, 18.2% of GDP in taxes. When we've had very low marginal rates, we get 17.6, 18.2% of the economy in taxes because the economy changes and grows. So when you look at it, the black line is receipts, revenue. The line above it is interest and healthcare. So when our friends keep saying, well, we're going to tax the rich more, great, but I've already shown you if every tax worked absolutely to its maximum efficiency, you get 1.5% of GDP, and we're borrowing 7 this year. Oh. We'll make this the last one. Until we're actually willing to first have the same definitions of here's the drivers of debt, here's the innovations we're willing to bring into our society. This is our future. Our future is just absolutely crushing. And it's percentages of GDP. We expect Social Security and Medicare outlays as we start to head to the 30-year budget. 17.6% of the entire economy, where revenues are 6.3. Okay, no one has any idea what you're talking about. But my basic point is, today through the next 30 years, it's demographics. It's mostly healthcare, and then the cost of financing that shortfall. Helping people live longer, live healthier, live freer of disease is moral. Is it Republican moral, Democrat moral? It's just moral.
Facts.
And yet, every piece of legislation I've brought here over the last few years can't get a hearing or get shot down because the bureaucracy despises it. The interest groups care more about their money than they care about my 8-year-old's future.
Facts. Facts.
There is a path where the math can be made to work. But for everyone around here, you think there's a simple solution. My father used to have this great solution, this saying, for every complex problem, there's a simple solution. That's absolutely wrong. We will have to do complexity to save our future, save my retirement, save my children. We have put it on paper. We've done economic modeling. We've had multiple PhD economists do the math. There's a way it works. Will this place step up and buy a calculator, put batteries in it, and then sit down with those of us who want to save our future and make this another American century? But we run around terrified from doing what's hard. Madam Speaker, thank you for the therapy session of letting me vent.
He told no lie. All right, I got the whole video. Thank y'all. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you. All right, we done with that. Thank you.